Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Silence. Silence is directed by Martin Scorsese, written also by Martin Scorsese, based on a book by Shisaku Endo. The film stars Andrew Garfield, Adam Driver, and Liam Neeson. This film takes place in 1640 Japan, where two priests, or missionaries, portrayed by Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver, travel to Japan seeking out their mentor who has since renounced God and his religion, but this film is more about the psychological and physical journey of Andrew Garfield's character of Father Paul Rodriguez. And I will say right away that Martin Scorsese is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. He is probably my favorite living filmmaker. He is just someone who I respect greatly for not only his filmmaking prowess, but his film knowledge. He is very much an encyclopedia. He's very much an inspiration for me as a cinephile. And with all that being said, I'm going to try to look at this film as objectively as possible, because it would be very easy to say, oh, it's a Martin Scorsese film, I'm gonna love it no matter what. But I want to look at it with a certain objectivity. And with that being said, I have to say, this is a very good film. First off, the filmmaking is exquisite. The cinematography, the direction, the editing is, I dare say, flawless. And that is not a big surprise considering the detail and the passion put into this film, because Martin Scorsese has been trying to make this film for a very long time. This is very much a passion project for him. This was a film that I believe he struggled with getting funding for, so when he was finally able to do it, he really poured everything he had into this film from a filmmaking perspective. And that is very obvious if you see this film from a filmmaking lens. You see the absolute gorgeous cinematography by Rodrigo Prieto, who shot Wolf of Wall Street, Scorsese's previous film, and you would think that it was shot and directed by a different filmmaker and cinematographer, because the film is very different from A Wolf of Wall Street and most of Martin Scorsese's previous work. This film is a lot closer to Last Temptation of Christ, a film he did back in the 1980s, starring Willem Dafoe, and it is very much in line with that film when it comes to pacing as well as thematic narrative. So it's very much a companion piece to that film. If you are familiar with Martin Scorsese, you know that Christianity or Catholicism is something that he has delved into in his films before. He is someone who grew up within the Christian faith as an Italian American. If you are familiar with European culture, know that Christianity is very heavily involved in their lives. I, for one, come from a Portuguese background. Coincidentally, Andrew Garfield's character and Adam Driver, as well as Liam Neeson's character, are all Portuguese priests, Portuguese missionaries in the 17th century. So you really understand the cultural aspect of religion in this film if you indeed come from a religious background. But even if you don't, you can still see how impactful religion is on people's lives in this film, as well as today. That is one of the things I think Scorsese really does well in this film, is he explores certain philosophical, theological, sociological, and political questions and debates and things of that nature that were debated back then, as well as still debated today, because there's still a lot of questions we don't have answers for when it comes to religion, when it comes to faith and its impact on people's lives. And that is one of the main positive aspects of this film, is that it is very complex, it is rather intellectual, and it is thought-provoking and challenging mentally. It's a film that I think you need to see more than once, perhaps, if you did enjoy it. If you didn't enjoy it, perhaps you don't want to see it multiple times, but it is a film I think you need to watch and really think about to grasp onto what it is, because it is very involved. With all of this intellectual thought and intellectual effort one has to put into the film, I found myself very immersed in it. I found myself very engrossed in the story. I'm not sure quite why, because I personally am not a very religious person, although I did grow up in the Christian faith, which plays a heavy part in this film. I still found myself engrossed in this film because it deals with so many different aspects of society and culture. Also, the way Martin Scorsese shot this film is he shot it on location, I believe in Southeast Asia. I believe they used Taiwan to double for Japan. And you really get immersed in this world because you see them in this world. I felt like I was right there with them. That is how immersive an experience I had with this film. Others may not feel that immersion, which I definitely understand. But I will also say this. The film is a long plotting film. This is a very slow, very dramatic film. This is not like you are accustomed to seeing a Martin Scorsese film with a very upbeat soundtrack, very fast editing. Those films have a very quick pace to them. And I have to say, Andrew Garfield, as well as the other actors in this film, do a very good job. Andrew Garfield is slowly now emerging as a very, very good to great actor. We've seen him in films like The Social Network, as well as Hacksaw Ridge, as well as 99 Homes, and hopefully we'll see him fully emerge even further going on in his career, because he is still relatively a young actor. As well as a young actor that is emerging, Adam Driver, his star is also rising as well. He plays a more side role in this film, but he is very good as well. And of course, Liam Neeson brings a veteran presence to the film. Also, a special mention to Issei Ogata, who plays the head inquisitor, or the main antagonist in the film. I thought he was really just a wonderful foil to Andrew Garfield's Father Rodriguez. Also, a special mention to Yosuke Kobozuka, who plays a character, Kikichiro, who is a very interesting character in the sense he symbolizes an interesting aspect of Christianity, or a Christian follower, someone who utilizes the Christian faith in a very modern way, I'll say that. But as much as I really like this film a lot, the film does have a few problems with it. It is a film, like I said, that is very long. Plot pacing is not necessarily an issue with me, but it will probably be an issue with some people. It'll probably be an issue with some people in the sense that there is not a lot happening in the film when it comes to events. It's a film that is very much internal. It's a film that is more of a character journey with the character of Rodriguez. Not a lot of people are going to be fully invested in his journey. Also, this is kind of a nitpicking type thing, but Adam Driver, Liam Neeson, and Andrew Garfield are supposed to be Portuguese priests, and they don't look Portuguese at all. They don't really sound Portuguese, although Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver do make an effort when it comes to having a kind of Portuguese accent or Portuguese inflection in their voices, but it really doesn't work out so well, which I can forgive considering it is a film that is about a lot more than just people's accents. But it also bothers me a little bit in the sense that the film feels very authentic. Like I said before, the film is indeed shot relatively on location in Southeast Asia, and they also utilize Japanese culture as well as Japanese language. The one main issue or problem I have with most films when they are period pieces set in non-English speaking countries is they have people speaking imperfect English, and it really bothers me because it removes some of the authenticity. But in this film, there are indeed English-speaking Japanese people, but the reason why they speak English is because they've been taught English by the missionaries who have been operating in Japan for some time. So that makes sense, and it's also not really perfect English. It is rather broken English with accents and things of that nature. And also the film utilizes native Japanese language. They utilize subtitles, which I don't mind at all. I love foreign films, so seeing subtitles in a movie does not bother me much. It may bother some people who are not used to it. Also, another perhaps negative aspect with the film for some is that it is heavily religious. If you've read the plot of this film, you understand that it is about two priests going into Japan in 1640, where Christianity is indeed illegal, so therefore Christianity is persecuted. That faith is persecuted. So we see the events mostly from the perspectives of Christians. So Christianity is very much victimized in the film. For those of you who are not Christian or are not religious in any way or are from a different religion or denomination or whatever, you may not feel a connection with the material. Also, there's a lot of people discussing whether the film is very heavy-handed when it comes to its Christian message or Christian themes or the aspect of Christianity in the film, because it is a very heavy part of the film. I personally don't see it as being heavy-handed because I'm once again viewing the film in a different context. I'm viewing the film with all of my personal feelings about religion aside. I'm viewing it contextually about the events in which the film is depicting, and that is 1640 feudal Japan, where Christianity is outlawed. The film is most interesting when it deals with the role religion plays in people's lives, because that is really at the heart of this film, is religion and how it affects people and how it really has a very strong impact on people's lives. And we see in this film that Andrew Garfield's character is psychologically tortured because of his relationship with Christianity, his relationship with religion. So, with all that being said, I'm going to give the film 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is a film I like a lot. It's a film that I'm probably going to be watching again. It is a film I think the acting, directing, the filmmaking are all strong. It is a slow-plotted film, but I think if you immerse yourself in the film, you can very much enjoy it. But like I said, don't go into it thinking it's going to be a traditional Martin Scorsese film with the fast pacing, with the great soundtrack, and things of that nature. It's a lot slower and it's a lot more dramatic. This has been my review of Silence, directed by Martin Scorsese. If you like this video, please check out my other movie reviews as well as the episode reviews I do for the various comic book television series, as well as my other videos.